Hi, I'm Anna of All Trades, and you may remember a few weeks ago we did a barn renovation project where I put stalls and hung barn doors inside the barn to make it more useful. Now the second stage of this process is to make the heavy use area where the animals are walking all around all the time a actual usable area. So for the last 3 years these poor guys have been standing in mud and muck every time the Seattle monsoon-like rains happen. And so this week we decided to create a French drain system so that this will be completely dry and safe for their little hoofies all winter long. So this is actually a project that I was not at all planning to do during this period of crazy busyness on the farm. However, my awesome friend Billy Bob Lockwood, who owns a local construction company called Lockwood Construction, said he had a free week with his equipment. So would we like to tackle that project? And I said, of course. Everything got pushed aside for the last week, literally and figuratively, because he brought his big equipment down and we moved literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of yards of material, be that moving the compost pile up into the garden and putting some in the chicken coop area, as we discussed in the chicken coop videos. We also just cleared out all of the Seattle muck soil off of the top of the whole hillside here so that we could drain it. And conveniently, that actually provided enough material for a future project, which will be leveling and draining and replanting all of our pastures. So in that regard, we actually are saving a bunch of future time and money, which is super awesome. More carpet. How glorious. What a treat. If you know anything about animals and water, you've probably heard about hoof rot. Hoof rot is especially problematic for animals that have spaces in their hooves, like for the miniature donkeys. Obviously, we are regularly farrowing them and regularly cleaning their hooves, but we can really help abate some of those issues by keeping their feet nice and dry. Enter French drains. We ran into a water line. Don't worry, it's all just from the well. Billy Bob just taught me how to drive an excavator, so life just improved 1,000%. I wanted to show you too the scale of the project that we're doing. We're putting in a 1,600 square foot drainage field, and then we are leveling the pasture, putting a drainage field out there. It's incredible. So let's talk about how these French drains work. Right under me, there's the first drain. It's about 6 feet away from the barn, and then there's another one 6 feet away from it, another one 10 feet, and then another one 12 feet. So in total, there's 4 drains that are gonna keep this hillside where the animals spend most of their time completely dry all winter long. This is a 6-foot deep trench. We first lay down geofabric in the trench, then add 1¼ round rock at the very bottom of the trench, then put in French drain pipes. That's an actual specific product. And then we cover the drain pipes very gently with a layer of round rock, and then cover that with crushed gravel. So once this crushed gravel gets compacted, in fact we're going to actually rent a compactor because it's incredible how much this can shift just in a short amount of time, then we'll put down pea gravel to kind of make a little bit of a softer feel on the animal's feet. Progress! So I'm down in a trench now that's almost the same height as me, shoveling rock. We have to hand shovel it under each of these little couplings here so that we don't crush the pipe. And then we've got to bring the whole thing up to ground level. So these 4 vertical drains drain into this horizontal drain, which then will drain out into our pond eventually. At the moment we just have a downspout because that's all we could afford time and money wise for this part of the project. But the coolest part about it is we've actually created a whole bunch of different inlets where we can easily just pull up the soil or the rock and add to this later, because the ultimate plan for this whole property is to put drains all around the property and drain it all into one collection pond so that we're not dealing with puddles around the house, in our crawl space, around the tiny house, and in our pastures. So hopefully this will completely abate all of our water issues. So to keep rock or silt or anything from getting into these, we're just gonna wrap a little fabric around and tie it on, and that'll keep this clean. And let me just say, the people that do grading and excavation work full-time are my absolute heroes, because if I learned anything this weekend, it's how unbelievably out of shape I am. Because 4 days of shoveling and operating machinery really takes a toll on you. And I will say too that I had an absolute blast learning how to run and operate an excavator. Mama needs one. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video and for supporting my channel. If you would like to support big projects like these and others on Patreon, the link to do that is below. And as always, I hope you leave this video feeling challenged and inspired to get outside and to do things with your hands as well. Cheers.